You're getting some aerobic fitness in. Good. I need it.
They said she was too lean. They said the WNBA's physical style would chew her up and spit her out. They insisted that no matter how many points she scored in college, she couldn't keep it up when seasoned veterans started throwing elbows. Yet here we are, witnessing Caitlyn Clark's most astonishing off-season transformation. She is no longer just that college phenom with absurd shooting range. She has become an absolute physical powerhouse, ready to redefine the word dominance for an entire league. And if you think her rookie season hints were impressive, just wait until you see what she's been cooking up behind closed doors. Even before the season ended, insiders started whispering about Caitlyn hitting the gym harder than ever. Then came official confirmations. Coach Stephanie White casually dropped that Clark's been putting on muscle, serious muscle. And no, this isn't just a few extra pounds from regular conditioning. We're talking a dramatic rebuild that has fans, teammates, and rivals raising eyebrows. Everyone who thought you could bump her around or knock her off her spots is about to be in for one rude awakening. The skepticism wasn't baseless. After all, the WNBA is notorious for its defensive intensity. Plenty of college stars light it up in March Madness, only to discover that professional defenders won't let you slip through the lane unscathed. Some rookies adjust over time, others never quite do. And with Caitlyn's star burning so brightly before she even stepped onto a WNBA court, it was only natural that opposing players looked for a way to bring her back down to earth. Geno's challenge, as many fans recall, wasn't malicious so much as straightforward. He believed Clark had a lot to prove if she wanted to thrive in a league where everyone is bigger, stronger, and craftier than the defenders she faced in college. Yet that single comment took on a life of its own. Rival supporters latched onto it, forming a chorus of "she's not ready, she's too skinny, and she'll never keep up with the more physical matchups." Critics saw an opportunity to point out that highlight reels of half-court swishes mean nothing if you can't stay on your feet when real contact arrives. To be fair, Geno wasn't the only one. Diana Taurasi, known for her candor, dropped a few hints here and there, implying that a newcomer like Clark will be targeted from day one. Taurasi has always preached that the WNBA is a no-excuses league. You either hold your ground or get shoved aside. So hearing the legendary guard cast doubt on Clark's immediate readiness only fueled this narrative that she'd be battered by relentless hits. And indeed, the moment she arrived, defenders took note of her hype and wanted to see if they could shatter her confidence early. Clark's first season showed flashes of brilliance. She wasn't just all talk, her numbers were downright scary for a rookie. She'd torch a defense with multiple three-pointers from near half-court, then whip a no-look pass that left defenders stumbling. Yet in the midst of these offensive explosions, you could see that some teams tried a very specific approach: get physical and see if she'd crack. The contact was relentless. A nudge in the back here, a hard box out there, or even an arm dragged across her shoulders just enough to throw her rhythm off. These tactics were employed nightly. Opponents studied the tape, noticing she had a slight frame compared to some of the league's stronger guards. The result? Clark spent a good chunk of games picking herself up off the hardwood, trying to catch her breath after being bumped mid-drive. Pundits began discussing whether Caitlyn would be worn down by the schedule and sheer physical toll. Was it possible for her to keep going at the same breakneck pace all season, hoisting up 25-foot daggers while defenders took every opportunity to maul her? Some claimed it was only a matter of time before she'd lose her spark and fade into a more limited role. The reality check, they said, had come swiftly and brutally. But they overlooked one crucial element of her personality. She's not one to bow to bullies. Instead of retreating from the contact, she seemed to feed off it. Sure, she got pushed around, and yes, it stung, but she wasn't about to let that define her. If anything, it lit a fire under her to come back even better. It became clear that all these collisions and knocks were fueling her ambition to re-emerge stronger. She was collecting mental notes about how defenders exploited her weaknesses, turning each bruise into a new bullet point on her to-fix list. Whispers started circulating during the early weeks of her break. Have you seen Caitlyn lately? She's putting in serious hours at the gym. Those murmurs grew louder when Stephanie White openly acknowledged Clark's new physique. By the time official training sessions rolled around, any doubts vanished. Her arms looked more defined, her legs sturdier, and her balance noticeably improved. This wasn't a simple summer workout routine. Word on the grapevine was that Caitlyn had practically set up camp in the team's facility, focusing on everything from core drills to explosive plyometrics. In interviews, she casually mentioned that building strength was her top priority, especially because she felt how much every bump impacted her game. She didn't want to merely handle contact, she wanted to initiate it. Some folks on social media started dissecting every photo that leaked. Where once you saw a lean, agile guard, you now saw a future powerhouse. Her posture alone radiated confidence. There were even pictures of her standing shoulder to shoulder with veteran forwards, and fans couldn't help but note she wasn't overshadowed the way she used to be. For everyone who doubted her ability to physically keep up, the message was clear. Get ready, because the next version of Caitlyn Clark is a full-blown juggernaut. Behind the scenes, coaches and trainers marveled at her work ethic. It wasn't just about stacking weight on the bar. It was about learning how to use her stronger frame effectively on the court. She went through drills that simulated intense contact from multiple directions, teaching her how to maintain her footing without sacrificing speed. She practiced powering through tugs at her jersey, subtle bumps at her hips, and persistent arm bars. In essence, she was turning the WNBA's favorite tactic against her over-physical defense into an opportunity. The moment Caitlyn stepped back into real practice scrimmages, an entirely new move set emerged. Suddenly, defenders realized this wasn't just a sharpshooter who could blow by you in a foot race. This was a player who could plant her feet, absorb a bump, and then calmly pivot for a clean look at the rim. In college, she'd wow crowds with impossible range. In her rookie season, she showcased fearless drives. Now she was adding a true power dimension, a budding post game. Let's paint a picture. A smaller defender tries to body Clark near the elbow. She feels the push, doesn't budge, then takes one deliberate back-down dribble. As the help defense arrives, she fakes, spins, and drops in a soft finish off the glass. It's the kind of sequence that barely existed in her game before, yet now it's an instant highlight. She's no longer forced to settle for deep shots when defenders crowd her. She can punish them closer to the basket as well. But the real beauty is how this strength amplifies the rest of her arsenal. When defenders swarm her at the three-point line, worried about that trademark step-back triple, she can power her way into the lane instead. If they collapse in the paint, she has the balance and body control to finish through contact or kick the ball out to a wide-open teammate. Every time defenders guess, she has a new way to counter. That's the hallmark of a superstar in the making, unpredictability. Beyond just scoring, her improved physique makes her a nightmare playmaker. She's less likely to get stripped or bumped off her dribble. She can hold her ground against traps and double teams, buying precious seconds to read the floor. Even her teammates have commented that her passes have new zip on them. Because she's not getting jostled around, she can step into those cross-court feeds with more power. The subtle shift in her strength has created endless possibilities on offense, and the rest of the league is definitely on high alert. If you think the WNBA's established veterans aren't paying attention, think again. Word travels fast in this league, especially when someone's off-season gains look downright game-changing. Teams that once believed they could fluster Clark with sheer physicality are scrambling for alternate strategies. No coach wants to be caught flat-footed when facing an enhanced version of last year's rookie scoring machine. Some analysts are going so far as to predict record-breaking performances, more triple-doubles, a steady stream of 30-point nights, and a possible historic double-double average in points and assists. It might sound like hype, but the logic is sound. If she was already challenging defenders while taking a beating, imagine what happens now that she can initiate the contact and stay upright. Expect more free throws, more second-chance opportunities, and more highlight reel plays that leave everyone talking. Opposing coaches who used to whisper about just bump her off her spot no longer have that security blanket. And here's the kicker. It's not just about offense. A stronger Caitlyn Clark also means a tougher defensive presence. She's not necessarily going to morph into a specialized lockdown defender overnight, but she's also no longer an easy target. That shift alone changes the dynamic because teams can't pick at her on the perimeter the way they might have done before. Word on the street is that multiple scouting reports around the league have undergone serious revisions. Players are watching film from her rookie season, then quickly realizing those clips might be outdated. The WNBA is known for quick adjustments. Defenses evolve game by game, but Clark's leaps suggest that old footage isn't going to cut it. She's showing entirely new ways to punish coverage, which means defenders have a massive learning curve ahead of them. Last season, there were times when opponents actively sought out mismatches against Caitlyn. They'd run her through staggered screens, looking for a chance to force a switch onto a bigger, stronger forward. Sometimes it worked, and Clark found herself battling in the post against someone with a clear size advantage. But now, she's learned how to use her new muscle to hold her ground. She's squaring her shoulders, keeping that low center of gravity, and pushing back instead of letting the offensive player dictate the entire possession. It's not that she's suddenly become a shot-blocking machine. That's not her game, but she's more physically imposing. Guards think twice before charging straight at her, and forwards sense there's a bit more grit when they try to back her down. This shift might seem small, but in a league where defensive matchups can swing a game's outcome, it's enormous. Some insiders believe that if she continues sharpening her defensive instincts alongside her newfound strength, she could evolve into one of the rare all-around superstars, a player who not only leads the league in scoring or assists, but can also anchor the perimeter on defense. For a second-year guard, that's practically unheard of. Yet here we are, witnessing it in real time. Here's the part that sends chills down the spine of every front office not lucky enough to have her on their roster. She's only in her second season. If she's making these monumental strides right now, what does year 3 look like? Or year 5? Fans are buzzing with the possibility that we might be seeing the early stages of a generational force, someone who redefines expectations and rewrites record books. Already, MVP chatter is swirling. Some claim she could earn votes this very season, especially if her team surges into the playoffs behind her leadership. Others think it might take another year or two, but it's almost universally agreed that Clark is on an MVP trajectory. Considering the WNBA is stacked with talent, A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and other established superstars, this kind of talk is no small thing. While official games are still on the horizon, early scrimmages and preseason matchups have given us a taste of what's to come. Teammates gush about her ability to handle double teams without panicking. Defenders, speaking anonymously to reporters, admit that pushing her off balance has become a far trickier task. Even seasoned veterans who once chalked up her game to rookie hype now seem to tread carefully when describing her potential. Some opposing coaches have gone on record saying they're preparing alternative defensive schemes specifically for her. Whether it's a rotating set of taller players or a deliberate strategy to trap her at half-court, it's clear that controlling Caitlyn is going to be a season-long puzzle. But if early scrimmages are any indicator, she's not stumped. She's reading traps more quickly, threading passes through the narrowest seams, and blowing by defenders once they overcommit. The strength she's packed on only helps her fight through those early traps, so that a full-court press might be more trouble than it's worth for opponents. It's not just about her individual performance either. Because she's become tougher to knock around, her entire team benefits. Players spacing the floor find more open looks when defenders collapse to contain her. Off-ball cutters get easy layups when she draws double coverage. Rebounds bounce more favorably when she sets sturdy screens and boxes out. In many ways, she's the rising tide lifting every boat around her. Caitlyn's transformation isn't merely physical. Sure, the extra muscle is the headline, but the real story might be her improved composure. She's learned to remain icy cool under pressure, partly because she now trusts her body to withstand hits. With that doubt removed, she can focus purely on outsmarting defenders. She's also been spotted spending more time in video sessions than ever before. Breakdowns of how defenders rotated against her last season, frame-by-frame analyses of her turnovers, slow-motion reels of her finishing attempts. She's absorbing all of it. A stronger physique combined with heightened mental acuity is a lethal mix. When you add in the fact she was already a high IQ passer and scorer, you begin to see why coaches are calling her unstoppable. There's also a psychological effect on her opponents. In her rookie year, players took pride in throwing her off her game, occasionally smirking after a hard foul. This season, that dynamic could flip entirely. If you try to deliver a cheap shot, you might end up stumbling backward yourself. And if your physical tactics fail, that seed of doubt creeps in. If I can't push her around, how else can I slow her down? That hesitation is exactly what a player of her caliber exploits to the fullest. Reporters who've interviewed her note she carries herself differently too. There's a calm self-assuredness in her voice, a sharpness in her eyes. She speaks candidly about wanting to be the best, not just for a season, but for an entire era. She references her weaknesses with a sense of purpose, almost excited at the prospect of conquering them one by one. If that's not the mindset of someone on the verge of greatness, I don't know what is. In just a short span of time, Caitlyn Clark has gone from a promising rookie to a potential juggernaut who could upend the league's hierarchy. She absorbed the physical abuse in year 1, took detailed notes, and responded by reshaping not just her body, but her entire approach to the game. The result is a Caitlyn Clark 2.0, or maybe 3.0, depending on who you ask. That's bigger, tougher, and more skilled in nearly every facet. Those early critics who claimed she couldn't survive the WNBA's physical challenges may now have to eat their words, and fast. That's the story so far of how Caitlyn Clark transformed into a whole new threat. Which part of her evolution do you think is the biggest game changer? The post-up skills, the ability to finish through contact, or something else? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more updates on her journey and all the other rising stars looking to shake up the league, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep your eyes glued to the court. You won't want to miss what happens next, because it could very well go down in the record books.